Jay, we have heard how, and you've explained it very well, how online content creators from Canada will definitely lose exposure and perhaps even profits from their markets around the world and the ability to be able to make a living off this. Are we going to see an exodus of creative Canadians who say, we've had enough, we're going to move countries?
That's a very big risk. It is, because a lot of content creators are mobile. It's not normally people who are working in a physical office who have to go there. These are YouTubers. These are people who are on TikTok. And so they could just simply pick up and move. And I think that's another big risk that the Trudeau government is not actually looking at. We've got people who are very mobile. We're in a very internationalized time. And certainly we've seen, Canadian artists all the time. You see, Justin Bieber has largely moved to the United States. Other Canadian celebrities have largely moved to the United States. Content creators could be next. And so I really think the Trudeau government has not considered the impact this is going to have on content creators. If they stay in Canada, it could ruin their careers. The other option is they could leave Canada, and then, we'll simply lose Canadian content altogether. So I think this is a very bad piece of legislation. I don't think it was thought through. I don't think the minister genuinely knows what the impact is going to be on Canadian content creators and on Canadian content as a whole. And I think really we really need the Senate to, stand up against this very dangerous piece of legislation. I've been glad to see that they've been doing a lot more scrutiny than they did in the House of Commons. And we'll see what happens from here.
So do you anticipate that the Senate will put forth any meaningful amendments?
So they actually already have put forward at least one meaningful amendment, which is to try to exclude user-generated content from this bill. So they're trying to make sure that if, the average Canadian uploads something to YouTube or TikTok, that it would not be regulated. Their rules are trying to say, well, only people who, for example, are songwriters who have already put out their music. If Justin Bieber wants to post something on YouTube, that would be regulated. But if, I were to post something on YouTube, that wouldn't be. That's an amendment that was put forward by the Senate Committee on Transport and Communications. That's a positive thing. We'll see how far it makes it. But what we do know is because the bill is being amended, it will go back to the House of Commons, and the government is going to have to face scrutiny on this once again.
My goodness. So do you have any anticipation that it can be fixed? Is there a fix for this kind of legislation?
No, I don't think there's any real fix for the legislation because it is deeply and inherently flawed. This is a bill that claims to want to promote the welfare of Canadian content creators, but could actually destroy their careers. This is a bill that says it's all about spreading Canadian content around the world, but it's censoring Canadians. It's censoring our ability to speak out. It's stopping our ability to make our voices heard and choose what we see first online and what we read first online. And I think this is just something that Canadians don't want. We don't want the government telling us what we should look at first, what we should look at last. That's not something we're interested in. I think it's a deeply flawed bill and it really has to go. The Senate has made some improvements at the margins, but there's no genuine way you can fix a bill that is so deeply broken right at the core.
So do you see that Canadians are speaking out? Sometimes Canadians get a bad rap for being too polite or too quiet or too calm. The one anomaly to that was the Freedom Convoy. Their Canadians erupted. Can we expect a similar eruption, or do you feel that Canadians are really voicing their concerns with this, or are they just going with whatever the government's flow is?
Well, I would say at the CTF, we've got a petition going. We have well over 100,000, getting closer to 200,000 signatures on our petition calling on the government to scrap this bill. I think Canadians are engaged, but I think we need to be even more engaged because this really is all about stopping government censorship, making sure that we control what we see online and that we don't have the government do it for us. And so this is a dangerous bill and it's a dangerous road to go down. And we know that the government has other bills planned, Bill C-18, which is the Online News Act. They've got all kinds of other legislation that is in this vein, toward government control and a lack of accountability. So, what, Canadians, we do have to stand up. We can't be quiet on this issue. We've got to sign petitions. We've got to call our members of parliament. We've got to call senators. and we need to make our voices heard, and we need to make sure that we do everything we can to stop Bill C-11 from becoming law.